Yes, thank you very much. David, if it matters and if you're going to be communicating with me, you're popping in and out on me quite a bit. I don't know about anyone else, but you were breaking up on me.
Yeah, David's internet is a little flaky sometimes, so that
Okay,
does
okay.
happen. But
Well, I
you
didn't
you
know if
look great and sound great, Murph.
it.
And also there are about three or four Davids, maybe five or six today. So if you just ask for David, someone will answer you.
And I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Okay, first of all, I'm Blair Murphy. My friends call me Murph, um, and that's a lot of people that do that, and I love that. So if everyone on here who has a question just wants to refer to me as Murph, that'd be great. Um, so I've been here for 54 years of my 57 years. I was born in Florence, Alabama, and I moved here when I was 3 with my single mom, and have lived with, or it's just been my mom and I my whole life. I'm an only child, um, and growing up, it was tough for me with a single mom that worked 2 to 3 jobs a lot of times, and we lived in trailers, apartments, and but Columbia was good. It was an awesome place for me to grow up. It exposed me to a lot, and I went to several elementary schools here. I also went to Oakland Junior High, and then I graduated from Hickman in 1986. Uh, then I went on to the University of Missouri for a year and a half, and then I had to stop in order to work to help my mom make ends meet. And I was fortunate enough to start a job at Johnston Paint and Decorating in the warehouse and worked my way up to the counter to assistant manager to manager to 12 years ago, I bought the business. And this just happens to be our 100th year in business, the Johnston Paint. So that's, we're pretty proud of that, right? For a business to survive for 100 years, that's pretty awesome. Um, growing up, again, I didn't have a lot. Uh, like I said, living in mobile homes, a mom working 3 jobs, but I had happiness with my mom, and we did things to make it work. And uh, today, in situations like that, I'm not sure how well people survive as well as we were able to back then. But my mom taught me the value of hard work, respect, to respect people, and I think that's what's helped me in life a lot. And You know, I'm lucky to still have my mom here in Columbia. Matter of fact, I just ran her to a doctor's appointment before this Zoom call, and uh, and then had to run her back home because she doesn't drive. So, but I love doing it because she did a lot for me, growing up here. So, um, also, you know, no matter what I say sometimes, or other people say, Columbia is a great place to live, I think. There every city has its issues, right? And problems, and it's just how you deal with them uh, and acknowledge them and communicate and all of that stuff. So, um, it's where I met my wife, Melissa. We have 2 beautiful daughters. One you've already seen, some of you, Maddie, that's making sure I don't really mess up, and um, my other daughter, Molly, who's a freshman at Arkansas. So it's been really good, and um, I'm super proud to have raised Maddie and Molly in Columbia because I think Columbia exposes you to a lot for a small town, but you still have a lot of things to offer. And um, you know, one thing I also want to say, and uh, I don't know how people are labeled one way or the other, but I also am Dwayne Carey's campaign chairman. and I've also worked on Judge Harris's campaigns also. So I'm for everybody, right? I'm for this whole city. I'm not one way or the other. I don't discuss that with anyone, even my own family. So I just wanted to make sure I said something about that to you guys too, because I know how that can be. So just so we know, I'm for everybody. But um, and as you know, our family, I've been on several boards. I'm on the Crime Stoppers board currently. I've been with Big Brothers Big Sisters, Daniel Boone Little League. I actually still coach a T-ball team currently at Daniel Boone. My daughters are 24 and 20, but I love it. I love going back and helping. So, um, you know, and our family just recently built a home for a family through Love Columbia for a mom and five children. So you know, I have a huge heart for this community. I'll probably say that a dozen times during this because Columbia is an awesome place, and I want to help keep it that way. Um, you know, the volunteering, giving back uh, is how a lot of people survive, and you know, I know what it's like. I had two kids that grew up playing sports, and you're always fundraising, right? And Columbia has always been a great community to support the youth and the sports and um, stuff like that for us. But um, you know, so um, you know, I just think about how I made it here at Johnston Paint. Like I said, I started on the loading dock, unloading trucks, and just worked my way up. And 37 years late, well, 25 years later, I was able to buy the business, which was a great deal for me. But I had to work hard and earn it. Um, and you know, um, I you know, it's just an awesome story for me personally to tell to people because some people think, you know, as an owner of a business, you were just handed everything and that you didn't have to work for it and earn it. And so, um, you know, before I get into another part here, I want to make sure everyone knows that I'm not a politician. As you've heard, I'm a paint guy by trade, and a year ago, I never even thought about running for mayor. Had never even crossed my mind, but I think now I'm super excited and happy to be doing it, and it's mayor by committee for me. Like I'm going to involve all people to help me, and I'm for all people as well, and um, so, you know, my life experience is not in government at all. I don't claim to know all the answers, but I will educate myself and learn with a lot of support by a lot of great people in this community. So, uh, you know, that's just a little perk there that I want everyone to know that, you know, you may hear some crazy words out of my mouth or something that may not make any sense, but I'm not a Harvard law degreed politician kind of guy. So, but I sell paint for a living, is what I tell them. Um, uh, so you know, people ask me why. Why would you take this at 57 years old with two grown kids and a great business? But why not? Why wouldn't I give back to the community that's done a lot for me? And you know, so, but and another thing is, you know, my top priority is public safety, hands down. There's a lot of important stuff that needs addressed in this community, but public safety, I think, is the top. and it can work its way down to help some of the other issues. Um, Again, as all of you know, I'm um, the only candidate that is endorsed by the Columbia Police Officers Association. I'm very, very proud of that because that's my passion for sure. And,
You don't know how to do it. No.
I'm sorry.
It was a mistake. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Um, so, and being on the Crime Stoppers board for the last 10 years, and um, that's just something that I think can help our community to be involved with, uh, to support the cops, to make sure they're in the right place. We all have stressful jobs and we have in our life, but man, that's one that's really, really tough. And we just need to make sure that they're being supported and getting all the help that they can. And um, I'm 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 the guy that's going to try to do that the best to my abilities. And because you you can say Columbia is going in the wrong direction right now. Some people say that. Well, again, that's you can look at the city survey and the statistics and all of that, and a lot of that speaks for itself. But I still love this place, and I want to make it better. And so, um, you know, uh, the overall feeling of safety in this town is not the best right now, and we're going to work to make that better. And what is it? 18% of citizens feel safe in Columbia right now on the latest city survey. Um, but there's a lot again, a lot of positive things about Columbia, the parks, the trails. I'm personally a bike rider and ride on the trails a lot and love them. And I know there's a fear of safety from a lot of people currently on the trails, and I hate that for people because I mean, it's a beautiful part of Columbia, and I want everyone to be able to enjoy it, and uh, I appreciate them a lot, and so, but you know, it's well, I don't know. There's so many statistics out there to talk about, and what the city survey shows, but we can, you know, our neighbors deserve to feel safe at the end of the day, and it's real important that when you look at them, and uh, 17% of the residents, of course, feel safe in Columbia. 30% of residents said they were satisfied with the police downtown. Right? I mean, that's the other thing is the downtown Columbia safety factor, and uh, I've been quoted as saying that even myself, I don't feel comfortable downtown sometimes, and a lot of people, may give me a hard time about that, but it's not like when I was younger, and things have just changed, and so and excuse me, but I'm going to take a drink here so that I could keep going. And all these statistics come from the city survey, right? It's our own city's numbers that you read about and hear about, and I mean, I don't know how anything's more accurate than that. So, but and the one thing that I'm again, you guys have heard, super passionate about is the police, and I just think we need to do a better job of having their back to be able to support them when they make a decision, and they're tough decisions, right? And their job, it's not easy for them, and so I think we need to do a better job of supporting the police, and just a lot of it, the morale in the department, the having conversations, the communication, the just to make sure that everybody's, getting all the tools they need. And so, their pension, their pay, all of that needs to be looked at in my eyes. And, so it's but there's just the stability for them, the firefighters, the city work, everybody. It takes all of them. It takes a village to make this all better here, and we need everyone. But because we're a full service city, and we need them all. But um, so obviously, as you've heard, public safety is number one for me. Uh, I know that, infrastructure and there's many other important topics, but um, I just that's kind of my introduction of myself. And I will open it up to you guys for questions and answers, and I would appreciate any support from any of you on April 8th in the election too. So as far as that goes, I'm ready.
Well, we have already put the website for your campaign into our chat, so I bring that to people's attention. And thank you very much for those introductory remarks. We have a few questions queued. I will begin by calling on David Mallory.
Thank you, David. And thank you, Murph, for being here. Appreciate that.
Absolutely.
As you know, the current Columbia City mayor is running for re-election, and anytime an incumbent is running, it behooves challengers to explain why the incumbent should be replaced. Good. What is it about the current administration that you feel should be changed and that you could do better?
Well, David, I would like to say that it's not. I'm running for Columbia. I'll say it like that. I'm not running against anyone. I don't like to say it like that. I don't. My decision was, you know, when I look at the statistics of the city survey, and I see our citizens, all of us that are on here today and everyone else saying that they don't feel safe in Columbia, I'm here to do something about that. So obviously, our citizens don't currently feel, David, that that's happening. And with that being a passion of mine for a long time, as I've told you, I, I'm doing it mainly for that reason. I I'm not here to say someone's not doing something good, bad, indifferent. That's not what I'm about. I'm here to make our town better.
Do we want a question from the chat?
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Starting at the top, just in the order they came in. Debbie Finley asks, you mentioned how sports were good for your children. Our African American youth do not have the same opportunity as many other children. What do you propose to help these kids? And do you have any concrete ideas?
That's an awesome question, and I will tell you that I have recently donated and have been asked to donate to the Douglas Park baseball and softball stuff. So I rounded up 3 truckloads of equipment and donated it to them a couple years ago. Um, and I am in contact with them, and I I am all in for helping anyone, because if some people didn't catch it at the beginning, I grew up exactly like that. I had to use used equipment. I mean, all of that, so, but, so I love it. I will support it and do anything I can for that.
Debbie, do you have a follow-up?
Yes, I have a follow-up. I'm interested in what you're proposing the city would do.
Oh, well, I don't really have a strong answer for that, but I mean, I would be in favor of supporting anything if it was brought to my attention too. So, um, Gabe Huffington at Parks and Rec and I have worked together before, and it may be something that we can definitely look at. I don't know what the current situation is, honestly.
Thanks for that.
Sarah?
Another one, let's see. The next one is Brian asks, do you support Columbia's LGBTQ safe haven ordinance passed in 2024, which deprioritizes CPD response to various anti-LGBTQ laws or policies to focus on other priorities? And will you advocate for the city attorney to defend this ordinance, among others, such as the conversion therapy ban on minors, in court if challenged, intimidated, this is a hard question, or extorted by the state AG or politicians in Jeff City? And do you know how to open the chat, Murph? Do you
Right?
know?
No,
So
I
you could
don't.
read that question if you needed to reread it. Okay.
That's okay. No, I mean,
All right.
I can just tell you it's yes on both. That's the easiest way. Yeah. So, um, that would be the easiest thing for me to say. Columbia is a diverse community, and our diversity is just a strength, but a cornerstone in a proud college town. So, yeah.
I guess I'll just keep going, David Robinson, unless I see someone raise a hand. So the next question is, person writes, I'm very concerned about ICE raids beginning here in Columbia. I'm concerned that families will be broken up. What will you do as mayor to protect undocumented immigrants who are contributing to our city? These aren't softball questions, that's for sure.
No,
They're asking some
no,
hard
no,
stuff here.
no,
You gotta
they're
really
not.
think about.
And like I said, 100% honesty. I mean, I have not researched and educated myself on every single thing. I mean, yet, and I will, and I'll try to do anything, but um, so I mean, our cops are now not helping ICE, for immigration. So, you know, I, but I'm not, I'm not educated to continue probably answering that.
So would it be putting words in your mouth to say that your understanding is that our cops are currently not helping ICE and you would not encourage them to start helping them?
Uh,
You don't want to go that far. Okay, that's
no,
fine. I'm not
I
trying to
don't.
put words in your mouth.
No,
Okay.
no, thank you. No, no problem.
Okay. Next question is, Marie asks, Columbia's actual crime statistics are no higher and for many crimes lower per capita than in the past, yet many people seem to be living in fear. I mean, we hear this like in that thing. I go downtown frequently and have never had a problem. Why are people so frightened? How can we address these false perceptions? And what specifically would you do differently than what has already been tried to hire more police officers? That's sort of a second question. So like there's one question about how do we let people know that there's a culture of fear, but numbers are actually lower? And then the second question is, how do we attract more good quality candidates?
Well, so first of all, I mean, when people talk about safety downtown, the most frequent thing for me that is mentioned a lot is um, being approached by aggressive people. I'll say it like that. And whether they mean harm or not, it is startling, right, for someone to just walk up on you when you're not expecting it. And as far as part two of that, uh, we will look at a lot of things. We will look at the morale of the department, the how to retain long-term officers, right? And we'll look at a lot of things, but um, the biggest thing is the morale and just making sure that everyone is involved and is appreciated, and I mean all of that. It's there's a whole lot to it. It's not just one answer on how we're going to be able to get 25 cops hired, in the first 6 months. I mean, there's a lot to it.
Let me ask a follow-up on that. Um, it does, I think in the post, uh, well, we've had a lot of federal money come through to our cities and states recently, and we think that's going to dry up or already has. So there will be budgeting decisions to be made that will be harder than in the past 4 or 5 years. And so, how would you, as mayor, talk about priorities, how to use the money in terms of public safety, which you've mentioned, and our other priorities, such as our parks and the many programs that are there. So it's kind of asking how would you advocate or want to analyze the problem as a public figure, the mayor, and
And you're
probably
talking,
vote on the council questions too.
and David, you're talking about on as far as the budget goes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I assume that you use money to solve some of these
Well,
problems.
right, right. So, um, you know, I say it like this. I think we have a spending problem currently.
Ah,
And I think there's, as I look at 600 pages of the city budget, I think there's places where we would be able to move things around and just look at possibilities, right? So I again, it's very overwhelming, but I can tell you we have a spending problem, you know. I mean, when you're looking through 600 pages of stuff, I mean, I actually have it right here with me right now that I mean, there's our city budget. So it's a lot, and but you know, it's we just have to get into it, and we're just starting that process.
Can I tag
thank you
on a,
for that.
can I tag on a
Thank you for
follow-up?
that. Okay.
Yeah. So Debbie asks, maybe another way to handle this same kind of question is, can you give us examples of where you think we could reduce spending? And then Kathy Jensen's got her hand up and there's another one in the chat, but this seemed kind of related. So
Um, you know, no, I don't have a firm answer, honestly, for that. I mean, I have ideas, but I'm not ready to, go public with those ideas. So.
Okay, Kathy, let's try your question.
Well, my question was a follow-up too. It would really be helpful to us if you would be specific and go public. How is the public supposed to make a decision when we don't know what you think?
Well, no, Kathy, I agree with that. I'm just saying it is so much that, I mean, I'm just, well, I don't know how to say it the best. I understand that point completely. Um, I just say that I think there's a lot of overspending is what I think. But that's going to take a lot of time to look at that. And, I'm not trying to be vague and put you off. I just, I got to look into it more.
Okay, Scott.
Blair, my name's Scott Orr. I've been around here a long time, really long time.
Yes, sir.
Just a comment, sir. I tell you how much I appreciate you throwing your hat in the ring and standing up. I
Thank you,
remember one of the best mayors that this town had, and probably half the people on this Zoom do, and his name was Rodney Smith. And if I recall, Rodney was a good friend, a successful businessman. He made a payroll, worked himself, trimmed the trees himself. And one day a lady was going by and she was complaining about to him, said, the city ought to do something about these trees. You're dropping these things all over. I'm going to call the mayor. He said, well, I am the mayor.
Well, and Scott, I'll tell you a neat story. I knew Rodney, and I went to school with his daughter Amy, and we have a lot of great conversations right now. That comparison's been there a few times already. But yeah, what a great guy, and um, I hope I can just be half of what he was, right?
Well, I tell you what, you've done a hell of a job, and I commend you. And you've done a hell of a lot job more than most because you've run a business, you've made a payroll, and all of us that have done that know how hard that is. So don't you be intimidated by the fact that you don't know all the answers to all the questions. You know,
Well, Scott, that means
right
more to
answer,
me than
the
I'm
right
sorry.
answer to any question that you're asked that you don't know the answer to is, I don't know. And too many people, it ain't what you don't know that gets you in trouble. It's what you know for sure that ain't so. So you just keep on trucking there, and I admire you, and I thank you. I've got to go pick up a friend out here in
I,
Virginia.
I I I greatly appreciate that, sir. That means a lot, and that's you've described me exactly. So thank you.
Okay, friend. You're the real deal. What
Thank
you
you.
see is what you get, and I like you.
I appreciate that. Thank
Okay.
you.
Do we want to grab some more questions from the chat, David Robinson? Okay, I'm just going in order that they came. I'm not sorting them at all. You mentioned earlier you're a bike rider. I am as well, writes this person. And I tend to think of cycling safety, meaning safety from cars hitting me on our roads. So would you support building protected bike lanes separated from cars around town? And if you would support that, do you have an idea of where you might prioritize starting with that, making those happen?
Yes, I would support it, first of all. But I ride on the trail just because of a trust factor of the cars on the road, right? Like I'm not sure if everybody sees us. So I stay on the trail, but yes, I'm I'm a huge bike fan and support a lot of that stuff. So I would, yes, I would support it.
Next one is federal layoffs and funding cuts may have some severe impacts on our city and county. We may lose several MU employees with reductions in research. Can you share with us how you think our city might be impacted by these federal level decisions?
Um, I mean, I think that's a city manager situation. I'm no, I mean, yes, obviously layoffs and stuff are never good and impact things, but that's more of a city manager question, in my opinion.
Next question is, I believe the Missouri legislature just passed a bill, so we're not sure, but we think, saying that marriage is only between a man and a woman, which could outlaw same-sex marriage. Thoughts on this?
No.
Okay. Uh, Mike Trapp asks, next year's budget is already being formulated in city departments, as you know, because you're holding it. Without the background knowledge of how things work, how can you get up to speed to meaningfully impact the process? There's not a lot of time left.
Studying it quite a bit, spending a lot of time looking at the budget. I mean, like I say, I've got it right here with me right now, and I'm making every effort I can to learn as much as I can in a short time.
And I think with that, I've caught up. Somebody correct me if I missed one. Debbie, were you kind of watching my work? I think I got them all.
No, there's a
Uh,
question above the bike question from Dave Taylor. Sarah.
Love the bike question. Oh, I
Oh,
thought
it
that was
was
more of a,
about T-ball in
it
Little
was
League.
more of a statement than a question that
Does Daniel Boone
No,
offer
it wasn't.
scholarships to kids who can't afford the fees to play ball there?
Um, that is an awesome question and a great timely question because that's being discussed within our board to try to figure out a way to help more children to be able to do it. And that's why, like my business currently, there are ways to sponsor for businesses. And I'm going to tell you, for Daniel Boone Little League, they for a small amount of money, you get your name on the back of like 12 to 15 shirts. They're willing to put up a banner out there on the fence for thousands of people to see all summer long. So there are things coming down later that I think will help more children be able to play there than currently do. Yes.
I apologize. I didn't realize I thought it was just Dave Taylor being his usual helpful self and offering background. So I did miss that one.
That's okay, Sarah. I want to comment that this group is obviously taken with this sports program and quite interested in these.
We don't normally talk about sport.
In the details here. No, it has been a while since we have. I'm going to broaden it just a little bit with my question, if I might. And we still have about 15 minutes. So other people come up with some other questions, or we'll let Murph decide how he wants to use the rest of his time himself. So please be thinking of your question. My question is kind of connected to all this discussion of sports because it is about our young people, about our children. In the past, the City Council, the Columbia school systems, and others have cooperated to raise quite a lot of levies to bond issues, to borrow money, to keep our schools, which are under quite a lot of demand for a number of reasons, going strong. And yet there are still problems to do this in the future. Do you want to talk about your past reaction to bond levies and your thinking about some in the future in regard to supporting education and the Columbia public school system?
Honestly, David, I probably couldn't. No, I would rather not. I mean, I don't know enough about that. I mean, I mean, obviously, I depend upon the particular situation of what it was for and what it's about. But not just an overall. So, that's in my eyes just more of a school board question, not a mayor question for me. But I do support CPS 100%. I have two daughters that loved it here, received a great education here, and so I do support CPS issues for sure.
Chat got a little busier again. Just starting again at the top. What programs exist within the police department for systemic racism, and how do you feel about that? Do you think that's needed? Debbie, did you mean in hiring or when they're dealing with calls out to the community, systemic racism? What was your thinking there?
Thanks, Sarah, for asking. I was really thinking both. How do we ensure that we're getting people of color into our police department? And then also, how do we help our police recognize the systemic racism that they were brought up with?
I see.
It took me a long time to realize that we are all racist. I mean, we don't want to accept it, but we all are. So,
I lost her.
She was just, how would you address that? I think was the end of the question.
Just making sure our officers are trained and recruited properly. I think that's the only thing you can do is just to put a lot of effort in the recruiting process and the academy. And, I support, yes, a lot. So.
All right. Next one. Do you have concerns that talking frequently about how unsafe you and others may feel downtown could end up having unintended impacts on local small businesses that rely on increased foot traffic and people coming in from outerlying areas to do business downtown?
So the question is, do I feel me saying that is going to affect them? Is that
yeah, I think just by repeating the fears that, as Marie pointed out, are numerically not supported as far as rates of crime, it's more of a feeling. So by talking about that so often, are we going to have an unintended impact of deterring people from doing business downtown that might have otherwise come, but they hear us talking about this?
Right, but it's the truth. It's the truth, right? And it's in the city survey. I mean, the statistics all show it. I mean, so it's not just assuming or making up anything. That's there. It's for everyone to see. It is definitely there.
You mean the truth is that people's perception is that the downtown is unsafe. That's what you're
Yes.
saying is the truth.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Um, Sarah Johnson asks, what departments in the city do you feel need more scrutiny? Having been to the budget meeting, does anything jump out as being wasteful?
Um, I, it's I'll just say it like this. I'm still looking into it. I mean, again, it's 600 pages. I mean, it's a lot. It's and no, so I don't want to say cutting here, cutting there. But no, I don't feel comfortable saying that at this time. Thank you.
Yeah. Pam Springsteel asks, I'm surprised this doesn't come up sooner because it comes up a lot in these candidate forums. Usually this is like one of the first questions. I would like your thoughts on the unhoused problem in Columbia.
Um, so I would say, uh, you know, I want the city to prevent homelessness and where we can, and by supporting the development of affordable housing, good jobs, stable living conditions, all of that.
A follow-up is, would you advocate outlawing panhandling?
Uh, well, you, I mean, obviously people want to help, right? Columbia is a great community and they want to help. It's just, I, but we gotta have people put their money where it's helpful in our community. And that's, that's the best thing. And there's a lot of ways in this community for people to get help if they need it.
Okay, Deb, another.
I just want to point out that there are two sets of data. One data shows you what people feel about crime in Columbia. The second is the actual crime data. So
I'm not getting
muted.
everything.
You jumped into mute somehow. I'm not sure why.
okay,
The last I heard you say was there's two sets. There's feeling data and crime data, and then you dropped out.
Yes. So, I'm just trying to point that out, that yes, you have data that shows what people feel, but we also have the data that Marie shows that actually crime is not up. So, I mean, those are two different things to consider as mayor or as candidate. How do we approach those two different things?
Well,
So, I could feel, I mean, you can't see me from the neck down, but I could feel like I'm 25 years old, blonde, and 105 pounds. And in fact, I'm 72 and I'm not going to tell you what I weigh. It's my feeling versus the actual situation. And I'm just wanting to point that out to you.
sure.
Yeah, I think that's been some of the confusion in the questions is, that the survey results that we were talking about earlier, we're asking, do you feel safe? But then there's also data from the police department, I'm guessing, about calls they respond to that are actual hard data of what they're actually doing day to day that measure and show that it actually has gone down.
Right.
And that is a weird disparity, right? How do you?
I listen to the people, and it's our city's own survey. That's how I judge it and base it.
Kathy, I see your hands up.
Yes, there is the point made in chat that there were only 800 respondents to that survey. And I don't know whether they did anything on demographics. Really, my question is, how representative of the city is this? You know, when people that choose to respond to a survey are people that have strong feelings about something often. But my actual question is, you said this the city should do should address homelessness, but I need you to be more specific about the things that you think the city could be doing.
About the homeless.
Yes.
Well, I just think, Kathy, that there's a lot of services offered to help people that, I mean, if they want it, there's options to help those people. I mean, they're already in place, right?
Yes, but that obviously has not dealt with the issue.
Well, right.
You said you felt the city should prevent homelessness.
Yes, yes.
And Sarah Johnson kind of asked to follow up, should the city help fund options for homeless to assist homeless people, which is kind of related.
Yeah, I don't know about that for sure. I mean,
oh, Sarah Johnson also asked to follow up, will you only help people who've proven to be residents of Columbia as opposed to people who've come from somewhere else? I don't know how you would do that. But
yeah.
And then going back up, this is a completely changing track. One of the Schneebergers asked, and this is just sort of a more general question, what do you see as the role of mayor in Columbia? Like, how do you envision that role kind of philosophically, I think is the question.
To listen and work with anyone to help solve the problems in our community. I mean, I will be all ears to listen and involve anyone that I can. I say it's mayor by committee for me.
Well, I think we have we circled back on several points again and again, and I do want to, by way of a little apology, say that sometimes they weren't questions, but we're giving you information. If it didn't go
Yeah,
on
no, this was
so
very, very
long,
helpful.
I apologize. and yeah, I think this kind of encounter, this kind of question and answer can be helpful to campaign. Is certainly helpful to those of us who are evaluating the candidates. If
Absolutely.
there are no further questions, I guess I'd like you to take just a few minutes and tell us, as you were kind of shyly at the ending of your statement, why should we vote for you? You say you appreciate the support. Tell us a little more why you think we should vote for you.
Sure. Well, for one, I'm obviously invested in this community and this city. I don't see myself ever leaving Columbia. And you know, when you've been in a place more than 50 years of your life, I think you're pretty dedicated to it. And I would like to say that, you know, I think the public safety part of it for us is extremely important, I would hope, to all of us. And that will be my main focus going forward. And I will be happy to listen and learn and educate myself on all things. And so I would greatly appreciate your support on April 8th. And I really appreciate this time today. It's helped me understand some other things too. So it's been really good for me.
Do you want to cede your last 5 minutes then?
I'm good.
You're
I'm
good. We've definitely given you a good workout,
Yeah.
especially on some of those questions.
I
So I think
appreciate it. And you guys have been awesome. Seriously, I appreciate the time, and let's make Columbia safer and stronger again.
well, we certainly appreciate your today, everyone, for Murph at our meeting today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
We'll have a short